Usually when we mess up, we just want a quick fix. Like you spilled dark coffee on a pristine rug, you grab the stain remover and you scrub frantically. You're just hoping to erase the evidence before anyone even notices.
Right, yeah, we want the problem gone, the optics managed, so we can just move on.
Exactly. But then you encounter a failure so massive, like so destructive, that the stain remover just isn't going to cut it. The whole floor underneath the rug is actually rotting. And that is what today's deep dive is all about. We're looking at an ancient text, specifically the English Standard Version of Psalm 51.
Yeah, and the context here is just incredible. It's written by King David right after the prophet Nathan directly confronts him about his devastating actions with Bathsheba.
So our mission today is to explore the anatomy of a really profound confession. We want to see how this text takes that crushing weight of guilt and maps out a journey to a clean heart.
And it completely shifts the focus, right, from outward rituals to total inward transformation.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the burden is palpable right from the first lines. The text opens with this desperate, almost panicked plea. David is literally begging for God's abundant mercy to blot out his transgressions.
He's asking to be washed thoroughly from his iniquity.
Yeah, so it's that analogy again, right? Trying to scrub out a deep, permanent stain. But, okay, here's where I need to push back a bit. Because David claims, against you, you only have I sinned. But wait, didn't he clearly sin against Bathsheba? Why claim he only wronged God?
What's fascinating here is how the text is reframing ultimate accountability. I mean, it doesn't erase the very real human harm at all.
Right, of course not.
But it argues that wrongs against others are ultimately a fundamental rebellion against the divine order itself.
Oh, I see. So the human harm is like the symptom, but the root disease is the rebellion.
Exactly. And if we look at the turning point where the text reveals that God desires truth deep in the inward being, we see the demand isn't just for, like, a public apology tour.
Yeah, no PR spin here.
Right. It's a demand for total internal honesty about how deep the rot actually goes.
Well, and if the root disease is internal rebellion, I mean, he even says he was brought forth in iniquity, then standard external fixes simply won't work.
They won't. And that realization forces a total shift in how he tries to fix the problem.
Yeah.
He pleads to be purged with hyssop, and for the bones that have been broken to rejoice.
Wait, purged with hyssop, what does that actually look like?
So to understand that imagery, we have to look at ancient practices. Hyssop was a plant they actually used like a brush to sprinkle purifying water in ancient rituals. So he wants a deep spiritual scrubbing.
Oh, wow. And the broken bones.
Those are a powerful metaphor for the agonizing physical weight of spiritual guilt. He's just completely crushed.
Crushed, yeah. And because of that crushing internal weight, he actually rejects the standard religious offerings, which is wild.
It really is.
Because I look at traditional sacrifices kind of like paying a parking ticket. You pay the fine, it clears your debt, but it doesn't actually change your terrible parallel parking habits.
That is a great way to put it.
But since he explicitly says God will not be pleased with a burnt offering, does that mean the whole system of sacrifices is entirely pointless?
Well, it's not that the system itself is pointless, but that the transaction is empty without the transformation. The core insight arrives when the text declares the sacrifices of God are a broken spirit.
A broken spirit.
Right. The ultimate offering isn't a physical animal on an altar. It's a shattered ego, a contrite heart. You can't just pay a penalty. You have to let your pride be completely dismantled.
I think whether you are religious or not, there's a powerful psychological truth here for anyone who has ever messed up. True restoration after a failure requires confronting your own flaws with that broken spirit rather than just offering a superficial apology.
Or paying a transactional penalty, yeah. The inward transformation must precede the outward action. You simply can't skip the hard part.
You really can't. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a final puzzle from the text to ponder on your own. After emphatically stating that God takes no pleasure in burnt offerings, the text ends by asking God to build up the walls of Jerusalem, declaring that then God will delight in bulls offered on the altar.
Right, it seems totally contradictory at first glance.
Yeah. How does achieving a broken spirit suddenly make those very same physical, external rituals acceptable again? Think about that rotting floor we talked about at the start. Once you finally rip out the ego and rebuild the foundation with total honesty, what does the room actually look like when you start putting the furniture back in?